Hey guys, CJ from Elevated Systems. As a tech reviewer, I'm not supposed to have preferences when it comes to the manufacturers I cover on the channel, but let's be honest, I was a tech enthusiast long before I became a YouTuber, and while I've never gone full fanboy for any company, I've definitely found myself gravitating towards certain companies that consistently deliver reliable, well-built, and high-performing products. One of those companies is InWin. I've been building with InWin enclosures since the 90s. The A500, for instance, might have seemed like a boring beige box at first glance, but it was actually revolutionary. It was one of the first mid-tower ATX cases available for DIY builders on the retail market. Over the years, InWin has continued to produce a range of cases from showpieces to niche and unique designs, elegant high-end models, and basic bare-bone budget enclosures. However, in recent years, InWin has leaned more into using unique materials and designs to offer PC builders something different. This approach has resulted in more closed-off or chimney-type airflow cases, which are big on style but might fall short on performance for the less experienced builder. So when I got InWin's brand new D5 mid-tower case in the studio and out of the box, my first thought was, what exactly is this case trying to be? Before we jump into the D5 review, let me share this. If you're into ad-free tech deep dives and DIY goodness, you're in the right place. Our content is community powered and authentic with no hidden endorsements. If you like what you see here, be sure to hit that subscribe, like this video, and help us reach more tech enthusiasts like you. Your support makes all the difference. Okay, let's walk through the D5 specs and features. I'll show you what fits and what doesn't, share my build notes, the pros and cons, we'll look at its thermal performance, and of course we'll wrap up with my final thoughts on the value of the InWin D5. Constructed from SECC steel, tempered glass, and ABS materials, the InWin D5 showcases a sleek and sturdy frame measuring 494 by 220 by 473 millimeters. It supports a wide array of motherboard formats, including 12 by 10 inch eATX, ATX, micro ATX, and mini ITX. The motherboard tray even includes the necessary cutouts to accommodate Asus BTF and MSI Project Zero series back connector motherboards. The case boasts 7 standard PCIe expansion slots along with 6 vertical PCI slots, providing ample space for graphics cards up to 365 millimeters in length. While a riser card is not included, its potential addition enhances the flexibility in customizing your build's layout and aesthetics with vertical mounting. InWin has honed in on optimizing airflow and hardware installation with the D5. The chassis features no-tool, quick-release panels, streamlining access to the internals for effortless maintenance and upgrades. The D5 comes equipped with one Neptune 120mm rear-mounted exhaust fan. The front and top mesh panels are crafted to maximize cooling efficiency, accommodating up to 3 120 or 140mm fans, or up to a 360mm radiator AIO. For airflow purists, the case accommodates CPU tower coolers up to 165mm tall. A detachable cable management shield on the motherboard tray facilitates cable organization, further enhancing air circulation around critical components. To keep the interior pristine, the case features a fine mesh steel front panel, a magnetic mesh top filter, and a plastic frame slide-out bottom filter. Nestled in a basement shroud, the D5 can accommodate power supplies up to 180mm long. Additionally, there's a removable drive cage with 2 sleds, each capable of housing one 3.5-inch hard drive or officially one 2.5-inch SSD, though unofficially, I managed to attach 2. A removable drive mount can hold 1 hard drive or 2 SSDs in 2 positions. With over 22mm of space and numerous tie-down points for cable management, the front I/O includes a power button, a headset jack, 2 5GB USB Type-A ports, and a up to 20GB Type-C port, and finally there's an included headphone hanger. The InWin D5 launched this week with a price of $120 US. Now that I've covered the specs on paper, let's dive into the real-world specs and some essential insights for anyone considering building in the InWin D5. First up, let's tackle motherboard compatibility. The specs mention support for an eATX board up to 10 inches wide. The eATX standard is not always straightforward. Modern eATX boards typically come in the 12 by 13 inch SSI EEB format, which could fit in this case. If you remove the plastic cable shroud, you'll find cable pass-throughs at the front of the case. However, there are no standoff mounting points for a 13-inch wide board. You'd have to drill and tap those yourself. The other eATX format you might encounter is the 10.5-inch SSI CEB format, which will fit with about a ½ inch to spare. The CEB format is the eATX boards InWin is referring to here. So, manage your eATX expectations carefully. However, when it comes to ATX or MATX, there are no limitations, including the new back connector motherboards. My initial plan was to test one of these Project Zero or BTF motherboards in the case, but at the time of filming, the selection is quite scarce. And in fact, there are no AM5 socket full ATX back connector boards on the market. While I assume InWin did their homework and everything aligns as it should, I can't verify that currently. Luckily, InWin didn't limit the case to just the fancy Project Zero type boards. There are plenty of standard cable pass-throughs for traditional motherboards at the top, front, and bottom. Compatibility issues are minimal in this case. There's ample room for a standard 50 to 55 millimeter thick AIO at the top without interfering with RAM or VRM clearances. There's also plenty of space for thicker radiators or push-pull configurations at the front. However, remember that every millimeter of cooling space used up front reduces the maximum length of your graphics card. Speaking of graphics cards, the case features a rotatable PCIe bracket, allowing you to install your PCIe cards horizontally or vertically. However, no PCIe riser cable is included with the case. There are 3 vertical mounting positions depending on your card's thickness. Additionally, because of the recessed PCIe bracket, screwing in the graphics card can be difficult, so you'll want to remove the rear fan to make this easy. Again, no major issues here, so I installed a trio of InWin Jupiter 140mm fans, 2 up front and 1 up top, along with my standard test system. Feel free to check the full components list in the description below. Then, after tidying up the cables, which only took about 5 minutes thanks to the ample space, multiple tie down points, and included zip ties and Velcro straps, it was time to see how this case performs. Comparing the test system's performance in the InWin D5 to that on an open air test bench, the results from an average of 3 AIDA64 tests were impressive. The CPU temperature decreased by 3 degrees when enclosed within the case, the motherboard temperature saw a decrease of 5 degrees, and the GPU temperature only climbed by 1 degree during a 20-minute port royal loop. These temperatures are the best I've recorded in a mid-tower ATX case, which is understandable considering the case stands at 473 millimeters tall. It just squeaks into the mid-tower category. With a volume that large, internal heat saturation becomes less of an issue. Add to that the almost unimpeded front panel from which airflow is directed into the components by the cable shroud, and we have a very efficient case in terms of thermal performance. We can also leverage that efficiency for noise management. At my standard testing fan curve, which tops out at 80% of max RPM at 90 degrees CPU temperature, the case wasn't overwhelmingly loud, but didn't do much to dampen the fan noise. However, because the case is so efficient, I was able to dial that max RPM down to 50% while only adding a degree or 2 to the overall temperatures, while dialing the noise levels down to a whisper. And also keep in mind there's still room for 3 more 140mm fans in the case. So the cooling performance of the InWin D5 is a big win, and it doesn't stop there. However, there are a couple of weaker areas that we do need to chat about. First off, the style. It's not that it's lacking, it's just taking a different path from what we've seen InWin do lately, and it's a bit boring. Being the only full mesh front case in InWin's current mid-tower lineup, it definitely stands out as something we needed, yet when you stack it up against other airflow-focused mid-towers out there, it doesn't pop out as much. Build quality and materials are where InWin usually shines. The D5 keeps up with what we expect from InWin, even as one of their more budget-friendly mainstream cases. It's built tough with a mix of 1 and 0.85mm steel, 3mm tempered glass, and ABS plastic. Most everything feels sturdy with no wobbly panels or uneven lines, classic InWin. But here's the thing, this level of build quality in a wallet-friendly case isn't a rare find anymore. I've reviewed cases from brands like Montech, Antec, Deepcool, and recently Vetro that match or even surpass InWin's quality at similar or lower prices. It's not a knock on InWin, it's just that they're not the only players in the game anymore. The one nitpick I do have with the D5 is the use of plastic. The plastic studs for the side panels, really, they should just be steel, and that plastic headphone hanger feels a tad flimsy. One misgrab of your headset could easily snap it off. But InWin still beats the competition in some key areas, especially in how thoughtfully designed the case is. You can tell it's made by engineers who really know PC building, like choosing not to pre-install motherboard standoffs. Seems lazy, but any serious DIY builder knows better. It saves the headache of dealing with misplaced standoffs that don't match your board. And the bottom filter sliding out on the left side is super handy, saving you from having to wrestle with the case just to clean the filter. The cable cover isn't just a random piece of plastic added just for looks, it also's engineered to focus airflow. The drive bracket setup is smart too, ensuring nothing gets in the way no matter what motherboard you're using. They even throw in a super simple magnetic GPU support that's just 100% gonna work. As we wrap up, it's clear the InWin D5 brings a lot to the table, especially with its unique compatibility with Asus Project Zero and BTF rear connector motherboards. However, I'm feeling a bit conflicted. On the one hand, the D5's focus on advanced compatibility positions it as a forward-thinking choice. Yet, considering the premium ecosystem these new motherboards belong to, most customers investing in such high-end hardware might lean towards more luxurious, yet often more affordable options from MSI and the anticipated offerings from Corsair. On the flip side, the D5 doesn't skip on performance. It's a solid airflow-focused case that doesn't shy away from accommodating a wide array of PC configurations, boasting commendable thermal performance. Despite this, and while InWin remains a personal favorite of mine in the realm of PC case manufacturers, the D5 doesn't quite win me over. Outside of the few things I've already mentioned, there's nothing explicitly wrong with the case. I guess I'm just confused by exactly what niche InWin is trying to fill with the D5. This is of course just my take, and I'm eager to hear your thoughts. Whether you agree with my points or see the D5 differently, I hope this review has equipped you with the information needed to make an informed decision. Drop your perspectives in the comments below. Your insights are invaluable, and I'm looking forward to engaging with them. Thanks for sticking around to the end. If you found this review helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and ring that bell to stay updated on all things tech. Your support means the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.